change. Today, I've got a story that might just blow your socks clear off your feet. Imagine this: you're standing in line at the grocery store, you pull out a handful of quarters, and one of them could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yep, you heard that right. One little South Carolina quarter from the year 2000 with a humble D-mint mark could pay off your mortgage, fund your early retirement, and still leave you enough to buy a lifetime supply of barbecue chips. In this video, we're going to dive deep into how this seemingly ordinary coin became such a superstar, what makes it valuable, how you can tell if you have one, and why collectors are willing to fork over more cash than you'd spend on a luxury car just to own it. Stick around, because I'll also share my own experience of almost spending a rare coin on a gas station hot dog. True story. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's talk money. Coin money. Back in the year 2000, the US Mint was cranking out the 50-state quarters series. If you remember, these were released over several years to celebrate each state in the Union. South Carolina's design features the outline of the state, a palmetto tree, the Carolina wren, and the yellow jessamine flower. You've probably seen this quarter countless times rattling around in your change jar or getting jammed in a vending machine. That means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Denver produced hundreds of millions of these quarters, so you might be thinking, what makes one of them worth over $1 million? It's like finding a winning lottery ticket in a pile of receipts. The magic happens in the details, namely, a very rare combination of errors and condition. First, it's what collectors call a mule error. That's when a coin is struck with mismatched dies. In some extremely rare cases, the obverse, the front with Washington's head, was paired with the reverse die of a different coin altogether. If you have one of these mule errors, congratulations, your life just changed. Second, even among non-error coins, if yours is in pristine uncirculated condition, known as mint state 68 or above, that's rarer than a polite honk in rush hour traffic. Most coins show scratches, dings, and smudges. A flawless example is like finding a 25-year-old avocado that's still perfectly ripe. Third, there are rumors and documented cases of a few coins struck on experimental planchets, basically, test metal blanks meant for different denominations. These coins weigh differently and have a distinctive ring when dropped. Combine all that, and you've got yourself a quarter that can fetch $1.3 million at auction. Here's where your detective skills come in. You'll need a few things: a magnifying glass, a scale, good lighting, and a steady hand. First, look for the D-mint mark. It should be just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Second, examine the edge of the coin. Look for any unusual ridges or seams that suggest a die clash or improper planchet. Third, check the weight. A standard quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, that's a red flag, possibly an experimental planchet. Fourth, scrutinize the design details. Are there doubled letters? Is the image off-center? Anything out of the ordinary can mean extra value. And finally, if you suspect you've got the golden ticket, do not clean it. Cleaning coins is like cutting your own bangs at midnight after 2 glasses of wine. Just don't. Leave it alone and get it professionally graded. Some folks think paying over $1 million for a quarter is downright bananas. But collectors see it as history, rarity, and status all rolled into one shiny disc. Imagine telling your friends, "Yeah, I own the rarest South Carolina quarter." They'd look at you like you just told them you ride a unicorn to work. For serious collectors and investors, these coins are trophies, irreplaceable artifacts that grow in value over time. Let me tell you about the time I almost blew it big time. A couple years ago, I was road tripping across the country. My car was running on fumes, so I pulled into this tiny gas station in the middle of nowhere. I grabbed a questionable hot dog and a soda, and when I went to pay, I scooped up some quarters from the console without thinking. I was sorting through leftover change when I spotted a 1999 Georgia quarter with a weird doubling on the design. Turns out, it was a valuable error coin worth about $8,000. I had almost handed it to the cashier for a mystery meat hot dog. That taught me 2 things: always check your change, and never eat a hot dog that's been spinning under a heat lamp since the Clinton administration. If you're hoping to strike gold with your own South Carolina quarter, here's what to do: check old coin jars, piggy banks, and rolls of quarters from the bank. Look through your collections, and ask your friends and family if they have spare change lying around. You'd be surprised what people throw in a drawer and forget about. Use a jeweler's loupe to spot tiny details, weigh any odd-feeling coins, and compare them with pictures online of confirmed errors. When in doubt, send your coin to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it, grade its condition, and help you understand its true market value. Absolutely. In the past decade, multiple rare state quarters with error combinations have sold for 6 and 7 figures at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbauer's. In 2024 alone, a similar South Carolina mule error in nearly flawless mint state sold for just under $1.3 million. Demand for error coins has exploded as more collectors jump into the hobby and see coins as a smart hedge against inflation. And if you find the right coin, you're sitting on life-changing money. So, there you have it. One humble South Carolina quarter with a D mint mark could transform your finances overnight. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little patience, and maybe a dash of luck before you race off to dig through every coin jar you can find. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. I've got plenty more tips and stories coming your way on how to find rare coins worth real dollars. Share this video with a friend who still thinks coins are just for parking meters, and let's keep spreading the word. You never know who might be holding the next $1 million piece of metal. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Go check your quarters, and remember, next time you're tempted to spend your change on a gas station snack, take a second look. You might just be holding a little piece of American treasure. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds. Have you ever spent a quarter without thinking twice, maybe tossing it into a vending machine for a stale pack of peanut butter crackers? Well, what if I told you that the quarter you just spent could have paid off your mortgage, bought you a fancy sports car, or let you retire on a sunny beach in Florida? Today, I'm going to tell you all about the 1983 P Washington quarter. Yes, the one with that tiny little P mint mark that's turning ordinary people into millionaires. I'm serious. One of these shiny little coins has been valued as high as $1.40 million. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for so you don't accidentally spend a fortune at the laundromat. And I'll share a funny story about the time I almost threw away a small fortune without realizing it. So grab your coin jar, get comfy, and let's dive into this treasure hunt. Alright, let's kick things off by talking about the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter started circulating back in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. The design has changed here and there, but the classic image of Washington's profile is still there, staring off into the distance like he's waiting for his Uber. And now, in 1983, the Philadelphia Mint produced a massive batch of these quarters. We're talking hundreds of millions. So you're probably thinking, how the heck can a coin so common be worth $1.40 million? First, not all 1983 P quarters are created equal. You can't just grab any old 1983 quarter and expect to cash in. If your quarter has been riding around in your glove compartment for 40 years with a melted gummy bear stuck to it, sorry, it's probably not the $1 million kind. The valuable ones are in pristine condition, they look like they just popped out of the mint yesterday. Collectors want to see every detail: Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers on the reverse, the fine lines. A weak strike or wear can knock thousands off the value. 1983 was one of those weird years the US Mint didn't release official mint sets. That means uncirculated coins were harder to get, and high-grade examples are super rare today. This is where things get spicy. Some of these quarters have dramatic die breaks, double dies, and off-center strikes. These errors are like the sprinkles on your ice cream, they make everything better and more valuable. As of right now, a pristine 1983 P Washington quarter with those rare characteristics can fetch up to $1.4 million at auction. That's not an urban legend. That's cold hard cash, folks. Buy a Lamborghini and still have money for gas pay for 4 years at an Ivy League college, or buy 5.6 million packs of gum from the checkout aisle. You need 1983 on the obverse side and a little P on the right side of Washington's ponytail. No mint mark means you have a different version. Use a magnifying glass. If the coin has no scratches, nicks, or wear, you might be onto something. Now, let me tell you a story about the time I almost lost a small fortune. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old jar of coins. You know, the kind, dusty, half filled with Canadian pennies and tokens from arcades that don't exist anymore. I grabbed a handful of quarters and almost dumped them in a Coinstar machine. But for some reason, probably because I'm cheap, I decided to sort them first, and there it was, a 1983 P quarter that looked brand new. My heart did that little jump, like when you see your ex's name pop up on your phone. I held it up to the light, imagining I was about to be rich. Well, it turned out mine didn't have any fancy errors, so it was worth about 25 cents, maybe 30 on a good day. But that experience taught me something important: you never know what's hiding in your change. So here's the bottom line. That quarter jingling in your pocket might be worth more than your car. Or your house. Or both combined. Before you spend any 1983 P Washington quarters, take a closer look. You could be sitting on $1 million payday and not even know it. Doubling, off-centering, die cracks, and if you don't find one today, don't get discouraged. Hunting for rare coins is a lot like fishing. Sometimes you come up empty, but sometimes you reel in the catch of a lifetime. Hey there, treasure hunters and pocket change pros. Have you ever had that moment, you're digging for laundry quarters and suddenly think, man, what if one of these coins is actually worth more than my car? Well, let me tell you, that ain't just a pipe dream. Today, we're talking about a tiny, ordinary-looking coin that might just be your ticket to a new house, a boat, or heck, even early retirement. I'm talking about the 2017 Ellis Island quarter, a coin most folks would use for a parking meter or shove in a vending machine. But what if I told you this little coin is worth up to $1.50 million? Yes, you heard me right. 1.5 million American dollars. That's not pocket change, that's buy your dream truck, a cabin in the mountains, and still have cash left to tip your barber big money. So stick with me, because in the next 40 minutes, we're diving deep into how this coin became a millionaire's treasure, what makes it so valuable, how to know if you have one, and a few funny tales along the way. And trust me, you don't want to miss the part where I almost spent one of these coins on a gas station hot dog. Yeah, that happened. Alright, before we go full Indiana Jones here, let's talk about where this coin came from. The 2017 Ellis Island quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, launched by the U.S. Mint in 2010. The program honored 56 national parks and historic sites across the U.S., Ellis Island being one of them. This specific quarter was minted in Philadelphia, hence the P Mint mark. It shows an immigrant family standing with a view of Ellis Island in the background. Beautiful design, rich history. But here's the thing, millions were minted. So why is one of these worth $1.5 million? That's like finding out your old beater Honda is actually a limited edition Bugatti. It's not just any Ellis Island quarter. This one's got something special going on. So here's the juicy part. There's one particular 2017 Ellis Island quarter that made waves in the numismatic world. Because it had a rare minting error, the kind of mistake that turns a regular coin into a collector's dream. We're talking about a double die obverse and a misaligned rim, paired with a near-perfect uncirculated condition, graded MS68 by a third-party grader. That's like coinspeak for flawless and fabulous. And this exact coin sold for an astonishing $1.5 million at a private auction. Why so much? Because rare errors in pristine condition are the holy grail of coin collecting. Add in the historical theme and modern mint date, it's a perfect storm. Now here's the kicker. Most people who come across these coins wouldn't notice. They'd think it's just another quarter. Some even spend them, like I almost did. So a few years ago, I was road tripping across New Jersey, blasting Springsteen, living off beef jerky and bad decisions. I stop at this old school gas station, craving a hot dog for some reason I still can't explain. Anyway, I reach into my car's cup holder for some quarters and I notice this super shiny 2017 Ellis Island one. Something about it felt different, like it winked at me. I'm halfway to the counter when I remember a buddy of mine, huge coin nerd, telling me to always check the mint mark and edges. So I stall, pretending to tie my shoe in front of the beef jerky rack, and give the coin a closer look. Boom. P mint mark. Strong details. Something off about the rim. I stuffed that quarter back in my pocket so fast, the guy behind me thought I was trying to steal peanuts. Sent it to be graded. Didn't end up being the $1 million version, but it came back at a few $100. This stuff's real. That $1.5 million coin? Could have just as easily ended up in that gas station's register, buying a microwave chili dog. Now, how do you know if you're holding one of these valuable bad boys? Let me break it down. Make sure it's a 2017 Ellis Island. If it looks like it just left the mint, with sharp edges, clean detail, and zero scratches, that's a good sign. Look at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look doubled, you're in luck. Misaligned rim or off-center strike. If the border isn't even or part of the design looks shifted, that's a major bonus to grading. If it seems rare, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. Anything MS67 or higher with those errors is hot property. And hey, if you don't know how to grade coins or spot errors, no shame in that. That's what magnifying glasses and YouTube channels like this one are for. Alright, let's say you're digging through your junk drawer and boom, you find a shiny Ellis Island quarter that fits the bill. What now? Don't spend it. Seriously. Tape a note on it if you have to. Do not use this coin to buy snacks. Take clear, well-lit photos of both sides. Use a macro setting if you can. Post them in coin forums or consult a local coin shop. Get it graded by a pro. You'll have to mail it in, pay a small fee, but trust me, if it's the real deal, that grading could multiply its value tenfold. Whether you sell it at auction or to a collector, congratulations, you're now holding enough money to retire early or at least take a cruise with bottomless shrimp. You never know what kind of treasure is hiding in your pocket change. That 2017 Ellis Island quarter could be worth 25 cents, or $1.5 million. Don't overlook the small stuff. Especially when it comes with a mint mark and $1 million twist. So here's what I want you to do right now. Go grab your coin jar, your wallet, your glove compartment. Check every 2017 quarter you've got. Look for that P. Look for anything weird, off-center, or extra shiny, and if you find something special, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Heck, you might even make it into my next video. If you learned something today, hit that subscribe button like you just found a winning lottery ticket. Smash that like button like it owes you lunch money. And ring the bell so you never miss another tip on coins worth cash. We've got more episodes coming on rare pennies, $1 million nickels, and coins you've probably got in your couch cushions right now, because your next big payday? It might be jingling in. Hey there, folks. Picture this, you're rummaging through your loose change jar, cursing yourself for never rolling up those quarters, when you spot a shiny 2021 quarter. You think, meh, 25 cents. But what if I told you that little coin could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? That's right, more than your neighbor's shiny new pickup truck and probably more than the entire contents of your kitchen combined. Today, we're going to unravel the fascinating story behind the 2021 Mint Mark quarter dollar. I'm going to share what makes it so rare, why collectors will fight over it like seagulls over a French fry, and how you can figure out if you've got one. And I'll also tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin because I thought it looked too new to be worth anything. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. First off, let's set the stage. The 2021 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, which started way back in 1932. In 2021, the U.S. Mint released the Washington crossing the Delaware design. If you look at the reverse side of the coin, you'll see General Washington himself, mid-paddle, standing on a rowboat. Now, before you start thinking every one of these is worth $1 million, let's be clear, most of them are still just 25 cents. The jackpot coins are special varieties, error coins, or ones in perfect uncirculated condition. The P stands for Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia churned out a ton of these quarters, over 500 million, in fact. But there were a very small number with misstrikes and striking errors that make them unbelievably rare. The $1 million specimens often have dramatic die breaks, double strikes, or off-center designs. Imagine a quarter where Washington looks like he has two noses or where the boat is doubled. Collectors drool over this stuff. Some examples have a thick die chip right across Washington's hat, nicknamed the Phantom Hat. This error alone can send collectors into bidding wars. For a 2021 P quarter to reach that $1.6 million valuation, it has to be in pristine, uncirculated condition like it was minted yesterday and never touched by human hands. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC certify these coins. If you have one graded MS70, the highest grade, you've hit the lottery. Now, let me tell you a little story to illustrate how easily you could miss out. About a year ago, I was cleaning out the cup holders in my car. You know the spot: sticky coffee rings, random receipts, and coins welded together by some mysterious sugary substance. I pulled out a 2021 quarter and thought, oh, just a new one. I was about to toss it into the drive-through tip jar, but something made me pause. I remembered reading about modern quarters with crazy values, so I gave it a closer look. I took a magnifying glass, yeah, I'm that person, and inspected the coin. Lo and behold, there was a fat die chip right over the boat oars. I nearly swallowed my gum. Now, mine wasn't the $1 million one, but it still graded high enough to fetch about $1,200 on eBay. Let me tell you, it's not every day you make that kind of money off your car's cup holder. Look for the P Mint mark. It'll be on the obverse side of the coin, just right of Washington's ponytail. Inspect for errors. Use a magnifier to spot die chips, doubling on letters or numbers, off-center images, or unusual lumps of metal. Check the coin's condition. If it looks brand new, you might want to get it graded professionally. If you're not sure what you're looking at, you can always compare it to photos online of known error coins or take it to a local coin shop. And don't be shy, dealers have seen it all. I once took in a bag of coins and sheepishly asked the guy if he'd mind going through them with me. He grinned and said, "Buddy, you wouldn't believe how many people walk in here thinking they've struck gold." Sometimes they have. One thing to remember is that modern error coins have exploded in popularity. In the past, folks mainly chased old silver quarters. But now, collectors realize that even the newest issues can be incredibly valuable if the error is severe enough and the coin is in perfect shape. In the last few years, auction houses and private sales have reported a handful of verified 2021 error quarters selling for six figures, and in one documented case, the coin fetched $1.6 million due to its extreme rarity and flawless preservation. That sale turned a lot of heads in the coin world and made everyone rethink the value of recent mint errors. If you want to sell one, your best bet is to get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC. Once it's graded and slabbed, you'll have proof that you're not trying to pass off your average pocket change as treasure. From there, you can either auction it through a big house like Heritage Auctions or list it with reputable online dealers. If you're not ready to sell right away, store the coin in a protective holder, keep it somewhere cool and dry, and never handle it with bare fingers. Finger oils can knock down the grade faster than you can say, "There goes my new boat." The next time you get change at the grocery store or clean out your couch cushions, take a closer look. You might be holding a 2021 Washington quarter worth $1.6 million. Sure, most of them are still worth 25 cents, but wouldn't you rather be the person who found the golden ticket in plain sight? I hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of valuable modern coins. If you've got a story about finding rare coins or want to learn more about coins worth serious money, drop me a comment below. I love hearing your stories. And hey, maybe you'll inspire someone else to check their spare change and discover their own fortune. And if you found this video helpful or entertaining, or at least got a chuckle imagining me scouring my car for coins, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you more tips on valuable coins, strategies to build wealth from collecting, and maybe even a few embarrassing personal stories along the way. Where we turn the spare change in your couch cushions into the kind of money that buys yachts, private islands, or at least a whole lot of steak dinners. Today, I'm about to blow your mind with the story of the 1972 Washington quarter with no mint mark, a little coin that looks like every other quarter you've ever flipped to decide who takes out the trash, but is actually worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million in the current collector's market. Now, before you go sprinting to your junk drawer or attacking your piggy bank with a hammer, stick with me. Because I'm going to walk you step by step through why this quarter is so rare, what makes it special, and how you can find out if you have one lurking in your collection. By the end of this video, you might just look at your loose change like it's a hidden treasure chest. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's see if you're sitting on a fortune. Alright, let's dive right into the fascinating world of the 1972 no mint mark quarter. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932. Most of them are pretty ordinary. You've probably used hundreds to buy a soda or feed a parking meter without a second thought, but the 1972 issue has an interesting twist. Normally, these coins would show a small letter, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But some 1972 quarters came out of the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark at the time due to a minting error in a very limited production run. A specific variation of the 1972 no mint mark quarter was created, one with a unique die error that made it ultra rare. You might be wondering, how can something as boring as a quarter be worth $1.7 million? Only a handful of these specific die error quarters were ever produced before the mint corrected the problem. The finest known examples are in pristine, uncirculated condition, called mint state. If your coin has never seen the inside of a vending machine, your chances of striking it rich are much better. This was a time when the mint was modernizing equipment and processes, so collectors loved these transitional pieces. On some of these coins, you'll see doubling of the date or the lettering on Liberty and In God We Trust. That's called a doubled die, and it sends the value through the roof. Look at 1972, Liberty, and In God We Trust. The finer the detail and fewer scratches, the higher the grade. Coins with a crisp impression are worth more. If you spot these characteristics, congratulations, you just hit the jackpot. Let me share a quick story about how I almost let a fortune slip through my fingers. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her kitchen drawers. You know the ones, full of rubber bands, expired coupons from 1992, and loose change. I started sorting the coins because I figured, hey, maybe there's something interesting here. Well, I found a 1972 quarter with no mint mark and a funny looking date. I shrugged and tossed it into a Ziploc bag to cash in later. A week later, I was reading about rare quarters online, probably procrastinating from real work, if I'm honest, and I saw a picture that looked exactly like that coin. My heart practically stopped. I dug it out, squinted under the brightest lamp I could find, and sure enough, the doubling was there. Unfortunately, mine was scratched up like it had been used to scrape ice off a windshield, so it wasn't worth millions, but still, a collector offered me over $1,000 for it. Never underestimate the coins you find lying around. You might be thinking, $1.7 million? That sounds crazy. But when it comes to numismatics, the fancy word for coin collecting, rarity and demand make values skyrocket. Wealthy collectors want to own the finest examples of rare coins, and they're willing to pay a premium. In 2025 alone, multiple six-figure and seven-figure sales were recorded for similar error coins. The 1972 no-mint mark double die quarter in near-perfect condition holds the record at $1.7 million. So, if you've got one in your possession, you can basically start practicing your victory dance. Never scrub or polish your coin. That can cut the value in half or worse. Get a good look at the details. Compare photos from PCGS, NGC, and other numismatic authorities. Certified grading companies can give you an official evaluation. It's better to be safe than sorry, because a verified grade is the difference between a good payday and a life-changing windfall. The Washington quarter was never supposed to be permanent? It was intended as a one-year commemorative issue for George Washington's 200th birthday. I guess they just never got around to switching it out. If you lined up $1.7 million in quarters, it would weigh over 18 tons. So maybe just cash the check instead. A guy once tried to buy a Ferrari with rare quarters. The dealership politely declined, but you've got to admire the effort. You came here today thinking a quarter was just 25 cents. Now you know that a 1972 no-mint mark Washington quarter, especially with a double die error, could be worth a staggering $1.7 million. If you're like me, you're already planning to raid every coin jar, glove compartment, and piggy bank you can find. Remember, the key is to look carefully, never clean the coin, and always get a professional opinion. And if you enjoyed this video and want to discover more about coins worth big money, and the smart strategies to spot them, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a tip that could literally make you a millionaire. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and coin-curious folks, quick question: have you ever looked at a regular old quarter and thought, man, this little piece of metal could change my life? Well, buckle up, because today I'm going to tell you how a 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar might just be your ticket to a cool $1.80 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.8 million. All hiding in your pocket change. Stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly why this coin is so rare, what to look for, and how you can turn your spare change into serious cash. Oh, and I'll share a little story about the time I almost threw away what could have been a fortune, so you don't make the same mistake I did. Let's talk about why the 1967 Washington quarter is such a big deal. Back in the mid-60s, the US Mint was going through some serious coin drama. In 1965, they stopped making quarters with silver. Instead, they started making them with copper and nickel because the price of silver was getting too high. By 1967, quarters didn't have any silver in them at all, at least. They weren't supposed to, but here's the thing: some rare transitional error coins slipped through the cracks. Imagine the guy running the coin press was thinking about lunch and accidentally used a leftover silver planchet. Well, that's basically what happened. So, when you find a 1967 quarter that's actually silver, you're holding a crazy rare mistake that collectors will pay top dollar for, sometimes literally over $1 million. Let's talk about what to look for so you don't accidentally spend one of these at the laundromat. Yeah, the same one you use to weigh your coffee beans. A normal copper-nickel 1967 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That tiny difference makes a huge impact. If you weigh your coin and it's over 6 grams, don't spend it. This one is kind of fun. Take a normal modern quarter and drop it on a hard surface, like a wooden table. It makes a dull, short clink. But a silver quarter makes a bright, ringing sound, almost like a tiny bell. If you're feeling fancy, you can call it the ping test. Look at the edge of the coin. A regular clad quarter has that copper stripe running around it. If the edge is pure silver with no orange line, you could be onto something. Silver is not magnetic. If your quarter sticks to a magnet, it's not silver, sorry. But hey, at least you found a cool science experiment. Even if you think you've got a rare coin, don't try to sell it raw. You'll want to get it certified by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. That's how you get the big money offers from serious collectors, and I can't stress this enough, do not clean your coin. Ever. Not with toothpaste, not with vinegar, not with one of those polishing cloths you got from your grandma. A shiny, clean coin will lose thousands in value. Let's dig into a little history to see why 1967 was such a perfect storm for collectible coins. In the mid-60s, the Coinage Act of 1965 eliminated silver in dimes and quarters. But production was huge. The U.S. Mint pumped out over 1 billion quarters in 1967 alone. That's right, more than 1 billion. Which is why you might be thinking, why would anyone care about mine? Well, it's exactly because there were so many that any mistake, like a leftover silver blank, is incredibly rare. Just imagine working in that mint, churning out millions of coins a day. It's no wonder a few slipped through. And lucky for us collectors, they did. Let me tell you about the time I almost tossed what could have been a jackpot. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. We found this old dusty jar of coins. He was like, "Take M if you want. Otherwise, I'm pitching M." So, I took them home, thinking I'd just dump them at the coin machine next time I needed cash for pizza. Well, I started sorting them and, no joke, I pulled out a shiny 1967 quarter. At first, I thought, nothing special. But something felt different about it. It was a little heavier, and the edge didn't have that copper stripe. I was about 2 seconds from throwing it back in the jar when I thought, maybe I should check online. Good thing I did. Turns out it was a known error type that could be worth a fortune if authenticated. In my case, it wasn't the $1 million version, it was worth about $1,200. Still, that's a $1,000 pizza fund, all from a dusty jar in a garage. Before you spend that quarter, take a second look. It could change your life. Recently, high-grade specimens authenticated by PCGS have sold for upwards of $1.8 million. That's not some random internet rumor, these are real auction records. The key is that the coin has to be a verified silver content uncirculated or an extremely high grade certified by a top-tier grading service. If you have one in your hands, you could be sitting on a retirement fund. Even coins with minor errors or slightly lower grades can sell for tens of thousands. So it's worth checking every single one you find. Contact PCGS or NGC. It will cost a little money, but it's worth it. Heritage auctions, Stacksbauers, and great collections are all reputable. Don't accept the first offer from a pawn shop or a guy on Craigslist. Big collectors will pay a premium. Online listings with no certification. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Who knew the humble 1967 no-mint Mark Washington quarter could be worth $1.8 million? Next time you're cleaning out a junk drawer or digging under your car seat for parking meter change, remember, one of those coins could be your golden ticket. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent a fortune on coffee, gas, or impulse buys. Wouldn't it be nice if one of those little quarters paid you back 10,000 times over? If you found this video helpful or even a little entertaining, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. I've got tons more videos on rare coins worth serious money, plus tips on how to build your own collection and strategies to sell your coins for the highest price. Leave a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or if you've got an old jar of change waiting to be explored. You never know, your story might be the next big headline in the coin collecting world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when we dig into even more treasures hiding in plain sight.